Good morning everyone and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity, and today I've decided to do something a little bit different, and I've used an older last year, or was it 2 years ago? I can't remember now. Die set that I designed, which is a Christmas bulb, and it's meant to be a shaker, but I've decided I'm going to do it as sort of like a bit happy, bright and a little bit mixed media. So this is the die, and I designed this one for surprise creation, and you can actually see it on that web page. It's 5 1/8 inches high. As a shaker, I actually did it as a shaker, and of course you've got your shaker piece there so that you cut two together to create your frame, and then you've got your extra hangy bippity bob that goes on the top. Now this is important. I like to say things like this. This die is a mirror image, which means if you cut two, you can fit them nice side to nice side, back to back, and they're a perfect match. So instead of sort of like, because we all know what our die cutting machines are like, we get a lovely side and then we get a really scruffy side. So you're able to cut two of these, put them back to back, and they match perfectly. They're mirror match perfect. So I just wanted you to know that. Yeah. Things like that are important to me. Right, okay, so this is what I used. I've used my black soot in Distress Oxide, and I am going to make one and show you my little process here. I've used my Distress Archival in Hickory Smoke because, you know, you don't always want to stamp in black. And there's my black soot Distress Oxide. I'm using Dollar Tree glue, which seriously needs filling up. There's only a little bit left in that bottle, so I'm going to perch it off to one edge there, upside down, and I'm using a bunch of markers. And what I've got here is I think this is the Tombow Bright set. So these are the markers that I'm using, and they're water based, so I'm just going to pop those off onto the edge. I'm using a gold sparkle pen, which is the Uniball Signo sparkling, and it's in gold, and I do highly recommend these pens. They are absolutely gorgeous. You really do get what you pay for with them. I'm just going to drop the rest of my markers down there. I've got a little scruffy old water brush. I think I got this from AliExpress a few years ago, and you get like 10, I think, for a couple of bucks. And I think the reason they're so cheap is because they're so small. But they're a perfect size, you know, just for throwing in a box or something if you're doing a lot of different colours. So that is what I'm going to use. And it's what I have used, and I'll show you the first two. So there's my first one, and it's from a stamp set that I hauled a couple of weeks ago, which is this one. And if it's still available, I will link it below, but it's really pretty. So I decided to get Bright and Happy on my ornament, and I haven't cut another one of these out yet, but you can see it's lovely on the back, and it's nice and smooth as well on the front, and that's what you get when you get a well-matched mirror image die. So if I go in close there, you can see it's just watercolors, pretty and happy. So that's my first one, and then I did limey and orange and pink, and used the little heart stamps in that set and those bits. Nothing is particularly perfect, it's just, you know, something happy and bright. And I haven't used my gold sparkle pen yet, so I'm going to get into that in a bit. And I have coloured in the top for the one that I'm going to stamp and do, or shall I say I have stamped it, I beg your pardon. I was trying to be organised and not take up too much time. But there are the two die cuts. Now I've stamped this onto this one, and as you can see, two nice sides, and then you put them like that, and then you glue them down. It's an absolute perfect fit, so that you've got a nice side and a nice side. So that's what I was, you know, waffling on about. So I'm going to put that there because I need my mat. So I'm just going to bring in my scruffy little mat here and move those up out of the way for a minute. It's one of those fun things, isn't it, when you've got everything on the table. Right, so deciding on the colours that I want here, and I think I'm going to go very blue and yellow and a little bit of limey green on this. So I'm going to go in with the blue from the bright, and I'm sticking with the bright set so that I'm using similar shades and I'm not sort of like encouraging myself to go off on a tangent, which you know I'm very good at doing. So these are brush markers, Tombow, been around for years, and I'm just going to put a little bit there and go around. Now, if you colour just a little bit at a time when you're using markers like this, you usually find you get a better effect. And I'm just squirting out some water onto the mat. Now you can see I've still got green in the brush, but that doesn't bother me. So I'm just going to go straight in there and squizzle around in my swirly circle. And that's quite satisfying. So you see you've got multi-shades of blue going on there, and you've got your little hint of green as well. I will pick it up in a second. And then I'm going to go blue on the petals. Now, if you've got these, you know that they're expensive. And so if you want to save your ink, do a little bit of a scribble down on your mat, and then introduce a little bit of water and then mix it up and then go in. And you'll find that you can build up all kinds of shades because you can go back into your marker and you can get something even darker in a minute. So I'm just essentially priming the colour at the moment and soaking into this watercolour cardstock, which is absolutely amazing stuff. It's really, really cheap, and it's the Walmart one. Who would have thought that you could get great watercolour cardstock from Walmart? I kid you not. I think it's like $10 for 50 sheets, and it's totally worth it. I think there's quite a few people that watch this channel that have been out and purchased, so I'm glad that they're enjoying it. I was quite stunned when I saw it because it's by the B Company, and if you Google the B Company paper, it can be quite expensive. Right, I'm going to finish colouring in that flower and I'll be straight back. Right, I'll just hold that up so that you can see, and it's not perfect, and I really don't want it to be perfect. I don't like perfect watercolouring really, and I'm going to use the what am I going to use now? I'm going to use the blue, or am I going to use the green? I think I'm actually going to go in with some limey green. So digging around in here, I've got this marker. And you can go for full colouring in when you're using these, or you can add water to them. Obviously, if you use them neat, the colours are brighter and a lot more vibrant. So I've got that there. And you can add just a little bit of water if you want to, just to throw a little bit of interest in there. So I'm trying to stay within the camera, and I'm going to apply neat here. I think I'm going to go off in that bit. These swirly flowers are very much like Renee McIntosh. That's what they remind me of. So I'm very sort of like lime and blue in this one, as opposed to all the orange and stuff that I've got going on in the other one. Right, so I'm going to add a little bit of blue into there to kind of like tie that in with my flower. And then I will get my watercolour brush. You can see that it's not perfect, it's just completely swizzled on there. And I'm just going to drop a bit in there and do that, and then I'm going to smear that around with some water, which I'm going to squeeze out of my brush. So really, really quick to do something like this, and I'm just going over the whole thing and blending it. See, I'm quite happy with that. And then I'm going to do this one. Swirl that around. You don't have to worry about anything sort of like going on anything. And I believe, have a darker green here. Yeah, you get those two greens in the, I'm pretty sure it's called the bright set. It's either the bright set or the bold set. I know it was quite a while ago when I bought it, so I can't really remember. So this one is more of a sort of like olive green. And I will touch all of this up with a little bit of water after. I'm going to go into there. Go into there. And I think I'm going to go for a whole yellow background on this when I'm finished. And now I'm going into some blue again. So this one is quite matchy-matchy in all its patterns and elements. And you can see I'm just squizzling it down really, really roughly. And then back in with my water brush. Not really caring if the colours mingle or not. Got that going on. And I'll pick it up so that you can see. So you can see there's absolutely nothing perfect about it. And you can see I've also got sort of like large white areas which show up really, really well on the camera because, you know, there's my thumb. And you can just see stuff really, really close up with this camera. There you go. So you can see you've got puddles of colour and you've got clear bits and I've mingled bits in. Really like that. Right, so the next thing that I want to do is do the whole background in yellow. And I'm watching my clock and I don't want to take up everybody's time. And for this, I'm going to squirt down a puddle of water. I'm going to go right onto the edge of my ornament. I hope you're able to see that. And I'm going in with neat colour because I want some areas of it to be really, really bright. So I'm going to push the colour away from the edge of that. It's rather fluorescent, isn't it? There you go. Right, so straight in with my water brush, which has got some green and blue in it, which is okay because it'll all blend nicely together. I'm going down in there. You can see that area is all sort of like smoothed out. You can just smoosh it about with your brush and just change the colour of what you want. So I'm going to show you a close-up of that. See that? So you've got all different tones and drippy bits. So I'm going to finish colouring that yellow and I will be back. Right, so I did lift my camera slightly and I've done that in yellow. I've put all the yellow where I quite like it. Now that's going to take 5 minutes to dry, so I'm going to run off for 5 minutes and then when I come back we're going to glue a back onto it and we're going to glue a top onto it. Now seeing that I've got orange there, I might actually put a little bit of orange in there just to tie the whole thing together. That's what I might do, yeah. So I'll let that dry and I will be back. So I popped a little bit of orange in there and I quite like all those colours. I think they're happy and bright. And of course that cap is going to go onto there. But first of all, I'm going to ink this up while it continues drying. And I'm using my black soot. So I'm just going to take the lid off that and hopefully I've still got enough left to scoot around the edges, and I will finish the shading off on this once I've glued it on, but I just want to be able to get into this bit really, which is where you can't get once you've stuck it down on top of your ornament. So there is quite a bit left on here, which is good. So I've gone all around the edge there and I am going to glue it on top of here. Now I've had my glue bottle upside down, which is a good thing, because as I said, I need to fill it up. So I'm just squeezing a bit all the way around the edge there. And of course wet glue always squidges, so you don't necessarily have to go right up to the edge with it. So I'm just going to pop that on. Hopefully I'm doing it straight, but I'll pick it up and take a look in a minute and line it up. There we go. I think that's it. I'm just going to hold that down until it takes. Of course, watercolour cardstock is quite absorbent, so it doesn't always take that long to dry on it actually. So I've got that down on there, and as you can see, the orange of the flowers blends in nicely with that bit up there. And I am, of course, it's a Christmas thing, so I'm going to use my gold sparkle pen in a second. Right, so that's going to take a few seconds to dry properly. And then running down, I've got the good side there, that's going down. My glue is running down the bottle, I hope, and I'm just going to go all the way around the edge there with just my Dollar Tree glue around the hangy loop, and then a little bit in the centre for adhesion. And then I'm going to glue this on here, going down back to back, and of course I need to line it up. So just squeeze it and press it. You can turn it over and see if you're lined up. Right, I'm going to let this dry and I'll be right back. Right, so that's dry and flat, and if I flip it over, you can see you've got a lovely side where you can put your date or your message if you're using it as a tag, or if you're putting it on your tree, it's just nice to have the date on there when you made it. But also you don't have to put them out for Christmas, obviously, because they're so bright and happy. You could just have a little row of pretty watercoloured bulbs just strung along from your craft room ceiling, and that would look gorgeous. So now I need to finish off with my ink, and I'm going all around the edge here, just darken it up. And whenever you move quickly in front of my camera, it all goes blurred, so you might have to wait until I'm finished to show you. Just darken that up. I think I've just about got enough ink left on my tool to do this. A nice dark edge there. I'm really rubbing it in. And then for these bits here, I like to shade so that it's kind of lighter in the middle, if you know what I mean. So I've gone there, and now I'm going to go off the edge here, and I should have nice light bits just in the middle. See if we can get a close-up. So there it is, really pretty and happy, and you know, you don't have to be dark and grungy all the time, but I really like those. I think they'd look really nice just on some twine, just hanging from my craft room. But I've got my gold sparkle pen here, and I highly, highly recommend these. And you can just go in wherever you want to. But personally, I think I'm going to do the stripes in the bulb. And to do that, I'm going to use Panelisa's ruler that she sent me. I'm going to try and keep a straight line. And hopefully you only have to touch these pens down really lightly. I hope you can see that. I'm going to try and get a good picture of that, and the gold just floods out. Ooh, it's quite bright here today. Let me see if I can get a better picture. Let's move it away. Oh, well, I hope you can see it. But that is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go along the straight lines of my bulb, and I've got them in the light here so that I can see it. And then move it along. I do love little details like this. And what I wanted to say before I finish is, whoops, get that straight. If there's anybody else out there that likes to have little things like this, then say, oh yay, I'd like those, Sharon, below, and I'll put these in the post to you. So I'll leave the backs blank so that you can write or stamp and paint or whatever it is you want to do on the back for yourself. But you can see there, oh, I hope you can see, it's just really sparkly and lovely. So that is what I got for you today. 3 very, very pretty Christmas bulbs, which don't necessarily have to be Christmas bulbs. And if you want them, just say, oh yay, please, below. The first one to write it, and of course it's time stamped when you send your post, will be the first one that gets it. Yeah, and I'll let you know who gets it. Have an absolutely awesome day. I'm going to be up tomorrow with some cute MX art, and as usual, all links below. Bye.